what to talk about today because I don't have any Vikings with me. But I have good news about one thing. So the reason I couldn't go yesterday is because it's a Save the Children Foundation, or it's Norwegian, it's called Red Barna. And they have a weekend where you can, once a year or twice a year, where you can, it's almost like a garage sale. You can price your things with a seller number and everything on it, and they sell it all for you. It's like a big garage sale with about 100 sellers, and people come in and look at stuff, and then they buy what they want. There's no haggling or anything like that. And then later they add it all up and tell you how much you made. 30% of it goes to the Save the Children Foundation. So we did well. So I've got so much dust up my nose now from going through old clothes. And then, of course, you have to work the sale too. So I'm ripping tape off of clothes all day long for 6 hours, and my nose is completely full of fiber. But this is the result if it shows up. We sold for 6,565 Norwegian kroner, which means we donated 1,965 kroner to the Save the Children. It's 40%. Oh, that's okay. I gave a bigger dividend than I thought, but that's okay. It's for a good cause. And then 4,600 is what my kids have to spend. So they each get 2,200 kroner. Oh my God, please tell me what that is in Norwegian kroner per dollar. So my kids are very excited about that, and they bought some stuff too there as well. So it's very environmental friendly. And I filled up, I did really well. I went through my attic and got down all the kids' stuff. I got all this kids' stuff that has been sitting in my room since the beginning of the pandemic, all ready to go into this sale. I filled up my car 3 times. I filled it up on Thursday night, and then I had to drop it off on Friday, run back within an hour, fill it up again, and then go. And then even on Saturday morning, we had to show up early and deliver some more. So 3 times I filled up my car. We sold quite a bit, which I'm very happy about. There was a lot left, of course, as well. Donated a crap load of it as well on my own Facebook page. You don't have to be my friend on Facebook. You can just follow, and you see all the stuff like that anyway. But you'll see there's a picture of my kid buried in a pile of clothes, and that's just part of what we donated to Ukraine. So now there's gonna be a lot of people the kids in Ukraine dressed up like my kids too. And then now my kids can go and buy new stuff. So that's why. But we got done with that 10 minutes to 6. There was no way in hell I was going to be able to be on YouTube. So I'm hoping most of you saw the little picture that I made. I was hoping to make a link, and then I thought, okay, when I'm on a break there, I can post the link. Maybe today instead of yesterday. But I forgot to send my nice little picture of my thumbnail, so I couldn't do that either. How was your weekend? And tell me what to talk about. I've got some stuff here. You get a very limited view of what you can see. Of course, I started another UFO because I'm already planning on not finishing it. Is that bad if you start a project and you're already planning on not finishing it? Anyway, I'm going to check through here to see what I'm missing because I see there's lots of people here. Charlotte is here again. She's back. I hope you're feeling better, Charlotte. Albert is here as well. Victoria Charnette is here, and she's early. Oh my gosh, you guys were early. Lear is here. Torben's here. Fellow viewers, how are we all doing? Good that you're talking with each other. That's good. You have to keep each other company when I'm late. Yeah, you should keep each other company when I'm on time too. Cold, wet day where Victoria is. That makes her sore, but the drugs are working. Garcia is cold in Holland. Actually, it's not, well, it might be a little bit colder outside now. Matthew Hames is here. Nice to see you. Where are you from, by the way? We have this thing. I probably don't even ask anymore because people just do it. But yeah, where are you from? And what's the weather like? Because we all have this odd fascination with weather. We need to know. I think, we're definitely in the warm degrees here. I'm in the flat part of Norway. In the east, I'm about an hour away from Sweden. 3 hours from Gotham, about 40 minutes from Oslo. Lyra is sewing her new apron dress like a crazy person. Her poor fingers and body are screaming. Lyra just figured out how to make this is really good. She needed to make a new apron dress. Pandemic is affecting people in ways where you have to either take it in or take it out, whatever. She figured it out. So congratulations, Lyra, on adjusting an apron dress. That is not easy. I am better at, the thing is, when I learned to sew, I apprenticed for this Greek lady from Cyprus, actually, as a tailor shop. So I learned to tailor things. So I can't sew things from the start, really, unless I have a pattern. But I can make things that are way too big, and I'm really good at tailoring it down. So that's about the way I have to work things there. Let's see what else you got here. Emily Gordon's here. She says, "Congrats." Who are we congratulating? Oh, on the sale thing. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's a lot of work. It took 3 months of marking clothes and bringing stuff down and going through it all. Do you know that Barbie, Monster High, Shopkins, and these little dollhouse figures, they all have clothes and shoes for them, and they don't fit each other. So here I'm looking at my kid's big, massive pile of these, and I have to separate all the shoes, all the clothes. These go to Barbie, these go to Ken, these go to Monster High. It's I didn't even bother bringing the Shopkins in. They've got like about 300 of these little teeny tiny Shopkins figures, if you knows what those are. And apparently they're collectibles. So I have to actually put those separately. But I got through everything else. So, okay, let's see. KV's here from Bergen as well. Hello. And Julie Miners is here. I was about to call you Julie Draynor. Don't know why. But anyway, yeah, she's going to come to Gudvangen this summer. We're very excited. She's going to bring us more wool, maybe, because we do actually have wool, but we can never have enough. And if she's got a different kind of sheep too, which is nice to see. So that it can play with the different kinds. Let's see. Manitoba, Arlene is here. Manitoba is cloudy with a high of 1. I should have checked the temperature. Heidi is here. Heidi, Runa's Heidi, not her sister Heidi. Runa has 2 Heidis. He has a sister and a girlfriend. This is the girlfriend Heidi, although I was sneaking suspicion that the sister's hiding in chat as well. And she's coming to Gudvangen too, the girlfriend, bringing family up for Easter. It looks like we're going to have pretty close to a full house for Easter. So we're very excited about that. If you are coming to Gudvangen in April, we're open half days. We're open from 10:30 until 2 o'clock. From May 1st, we'll be open as normal, 10 to 6 every day. So you'll have to come and see us. But anyway, Easter week is going to be a good one. What is that? Oh, good, we're still on March. Somewhere around the 6th, people start showing up and they leave around the 18th. So, but I think that weekend anyway, that last weekend is going to be a big one. So there'll be quite a few people here. So we'll have to do some fun things. One thing we thought to do, okay, well, an Easter egg hunt doesn't really kind of work in the Viking age, but we did do something in the pandemic with my kids that was actually kind of fun. We have a crap load of rocks everywhere. They're all over the place. Who would know? They're on the ground. They're free. So we found some and we started doing little petroglyphs. I mean, that's not exactly Viking, but we tried to do little Viking things or little runes or something. And we painted those with whatever colors we could find that weren't too outrageous. And we had them all over the village. And I sent my kids off with a basket and I said, you have to go and find as many as you can. But then it kind of grew from there because the tourists liked finding them as well, the little tourist kids. So we started throwing those all over the village as well. And then it was, see how many you can find. And if you find a bunch, you can keep one of them. And it was a big hit. So we're going to do that this year, I think, as well. We'll get the kids sorted up. This is probably something I won't have time to do. So Heidi, no, I can put a bunch of rocks on the table, or you can just dig them up from the ground yourself, wherever, and I can get some paint. And hopefully we won't ruin too many Viking clothing. But we thought that might be a fun thing for kids to do: paint rocks with little runes on them and hide them in the village for other kids to find. And then we have to come up with some sort of a prize for somebody who found the most. Maybe I have a hat. I have a lot of hats. Anyway, is that a mini sheep scissors? Yeah, actually, but this is not, doesn't work. No, it's stuck on there, but I can bring it up. If you look closely, there's a Swedish flag. This is the symbol for Borås, which is a textile based city in Sweden. And those pictures behind me are also Sweden. The Lasse Åberg you have, I can see if I can get that without the light share. We have a package that looks, let's see if I can show it there, mysteriously like Mickey Mouse, but we don't know what's actually in there. And a cat and a mouse, of course. So I like Lasse Åberg. He's a lot of fun. When I first came to Sweden in 1994, this picture was everywhere. You could buy the poster. I had it mounted and put on my wall when I was in the United States. And I actually brought that thing foam mounted with me on a plane when I moved over here because I liked it so much. And then I started getting more. A lot of Lasse Åberg, that's how you spell his name. A lot of Lasse Åberg is actually kind of color, and a lot of them will look like gourds and things or pails and yard tools that look like Donald Duck. But I like his simple, plain ones. So there you go, a little taste of Sweden. So I went to Sweden before I came to Norway. I actually learned Swedish and everything. And on a side trip in Sweden, I met a Norwegian, and that screwed everything up. So I've been in Norway ever since. And yes, it's not March. That's my kids' calendar. Okay, what am I missing here now? We could go outside for a little bit too, maybe. Look at my parking lot. Raining in Bergen. No drugs, but could use some Torban. Shame on you. Let's see. Then I've got this part. Now, what are we catching up on? Yep. So Heidi's looking forward to Easter. So we're very excited. And if you would love to do games with the kids, she's really, really good at that. And she does the over the pin, and you have to kind of go around over the stick. I mean, sorry, or lots of little cool Viking games anyway. And she does those with the kids out in the field. So we're really hoping she might want to do that again this year as well, because I think we're going to have a lot of kids during Easter. So we would love to have them occupied on a Corona budget, because we're still coming out of Corona. None of us have got Corona yet, though. I don't know how the hell everybody else has gotten Corona yet, but none of the staff has gotten Corona yet, which is really good because there's not many of us. But I think when it hits, it's going to hit hard. So we're really looking forward to the volunteers this year. If you want to be a volunteer and you've got all your Viking equipment and everything, because we just don't have the time to sew one for you, you can send an email to freeman@yarderheimer.com. And I bet if I'm really lucky, Peruta will put that link in there for you. If you need an application or anything, just write there and say, hey, I want to know more. And I will answer that for you. Used to be Virginia's job, but it's mine now because she went to Spain. I saw she's doing really well in design school too, by the way, for those who are wondering. Hector brought some kind of bug home from the kindergarten, so you're both sick today. Oh, I'm so sorry. So Peruta, but hopefully it's not COVID. My a family member, we're not going to name the person, they actually got sick. It turned to be a bug. We're so sure it was COVID, but tested negative, so didn't think anything of it. And then another household member came home after they were getting better and also got COVID, and did get COVID. And by the time they started getting better, the family member actually did get COVID. So there was like 3 weeks of sickness. I thought, how bad would that be, just to come down with a regular cold or something like that, get better, and then get slapped with COVID? I don't know. It must be horrible. So I thought that was like the perfect storm. Victoria's in Edinburgh. I'm probably killing that name. I'm not pronouncing it the proper Scottish way. That is on my bucket list of places I want to go. Arlene is making some deep red socks in York with thin wool yarn. They're going to be so pretty, but it's going to take forever. I'm so impressed with you. Julie's also making a video day in April. Oh, what are you going to make a video of? She probably already wrote it. There she goes. She's working on socks in Vandra using Mommen. This is Vandra. This is what I made my Easter egg with. It's a little bit thicker than Osk in Hillesvåg, but it actually turned out really quite cool. I will get onto that. So the picture I posted was an Easter egg with a nice little disclaimer that no, Easter eggs are not exactly historically Viking accurate. Just to say. But yeah. Oh, I will definitely come to visit Edinburgh one day when I'm rich and famous and have enough money to actually leave the country again. It's on my bucket list to come there. Okay, there's a lot more for me to catch up. But while on the topic of Vandra, which is, I have to turn on my computer here and hopefully, okay, so the egg stitch, let's turn this around here. Hopefully it won't look too bad, and don't look at my mess because I'm still cleaning up after the kids' sale thing. Up, up, up. There we go. Okay, so if you notice this stitch, this is when I was saying if you do dollar and a bit like you would do Mommen, so basically you're using 2 loops behind the thumb instead of 1, and you use an F2 connection. This is what I got, and I thought for sure there was a name for it, and I realized there's no name for it. So if I'm going to talk to Sana, if we can't figure out what it is, we're going to call it the Ukrainian egg stitch. But it's a little wonky to see this because I am working off the top of the egg. But then at the same time, you can kind of see how I have to needle bind at the top of an egg against a piece of plastic. So I'm going to play it. It's really kind of quick. I had to send this to Anne so she could find out what it was. So there's there's 3 loops behind my thumb actually, but those are the 2 end ones. And then I go through F1, F2, and then I go through those last 2 loops, and then I do the rest like Dollarna. But because I'm on an egg, I have to actually do it like that. That's how I did that stitch, but you don't want to go with anything much thicker than that. But it has like a really cool spongy look to it. I can play it again so you can see it because I'll post this eventually on Instagram. It's the next post when I have time to do it. Now that the kid sale is out of the way, I've got a bit more time. Okay, so I'm just showing the two loops. There's actually a third one at the very bottom, but that's the old loop now. So F1, F2, go through the last two loops on the back of your thumb, and then go underneath like you would on Dollarna, and then under the lead yarn. So there you go. Give it a try, but I would, yeah, use the thinner yarn. You can see that's not exactly that thick, that yarn. But it had a really, really cool texture of it. So I'm trying to think of what else to do because it's almost too dense for a hat. So I don't know. But anyway, ta-da, you learned something new. Needle binding today. I had that one prepared. Heidi Lee sent this here. See, I knew there was another Heidi in there somewhere. She was just hiding. Heidi, you have to come to Gudvangen too. We're tricking the other Heidi into doing children's games. I don't even know if she might have approved it already, but I think she has a choice anymore. Come, we need free labor. Okay. Actually, when you come as a volunteer, you volunteer 4 hours of your day doing something, and that's actually a very good thing you can do. Another one's demonstrate, for example, but yeah, and then you get to stay in the village and be a Viking. My cat is making whining noises because he wants my kid to give him even more food. If you hear him whining in the background. Okay, what else am I missing here? Kiwi said, "Oh, she's recovering from COVID as well." Not me, but I mean, I know your relative had it as well. So she's been taking it slow, but she finished her needle-bound sweater today. Oh, so happy with it. You made a sweater though. Oh, did you post it? Because I'm catching up on posts. I'm a little bit behind on Facebook, and I started catching up today. Here's another fun story. I realize I've got an invite on the needle binding group, or Nalbinding, the main one with the big brown thing. Would you like to be a group expert? I can be a group expert, that's fine, but I think it's very important to point out that I'm very good at modern application to needle binding. But when it comes to history, I will bow down to Maria or Ann Decker in a heartbeat because they know way, way more. But I can. I saw somebody asked a question recently about color work, and I'm going to tag Ingela on that one because she's awesome with color work. So anyway, then I go to fill out. Okay, you have to fill out this little bio if you're going to be an expert in the group. I'm like, okay, I can do this. This will be fun. So you edit. Okay, description. Yeah, no, modern application and patterns. I have them on Instagram. That's basically most of my history anyway, except for I also teach for Norges Husflygblad, which is like the Homecraft Guild in Norway, as well as working at Viking Valley Gudvangen. And then it says, would you like to host a Q&A? I'm like, sure, I can host a Q&A at some time, thinking people are going to send questions. No, it automatically posts. So I'm officially have a Q&A post as of this morning on needle binding. So and then I immediately I had to laugh because the first question comes out is the question that's been debated at least 5 times with the same person in the last 4 years. How old is needle binding, or how old is null binding? And so I kind of had to laugh at that because I know she's just trying to get my goat. The thing is, because she has a book where she quotes that it's or she writes that it is 100,000 or at least 80,000 years old anyway. So this debate is a long, old debate. I know. So I wrote that it was somewhere between 5,000 and, but it's a lot less than 80,000 BC. Ann Decker then, so we go under her Zoom and I'm like, so what do you have to say about this? And she is showing me, it's basically like a fossil. They're clay imprints where null binding has leaned up against clay, and they're old stitches and they appear to be null binding, or it's some sort of compound looping. And it's as old as maybe 9,700 or something BC. Don't quote me on that, because if Anne's there, she can. She's just wrapping up her Zoom now. So there you go. We can almost get it to 10,000. We know that the oldest form of twisted yarn, or which is actually twisted fiber, which is actually grass, when they just took grass and twisted it together like this, 40,000 years BC. So we're still having a hard time getting up to 80. But anyway, you never know. Things could happen. So that was kind of a fun one. So yeah, to explain why I laughed at that comment, just because they wrote that literally to get my goat. Might have worked. So yeah, no, so I'm hosting a Q&A on the null binding forum, quite by accident today, but it's kind of fun. It's a good thing. So I took my laptop with me to the cafe just because oh, well, I guess this is coming with me so I can answer them. Did I hit the wrong button? Don't forget to turn my Yep, no, that's my kid's calendar. I'm not allowed to touch it. So fortunately, I'm using the one on the computer. Let's see, I have to go even further back because I'm missing. There we go. Outer's here. Outer from Blogna. Hi from Trondheim. It's snowing in Trondheim. Wow. Outer was just in here last weekend at Viking. You should have came and sat behind the camera with us. It's hard to do though. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to be on TV. Well, it's not TV. It's just YouTube, and I don't actually have a lot of followers. So who's gonna see you? You never know. I could be famous one day. Pruda writes, we got about 10 minutes, 10 minutes. You got about 10 centimeters of snow yesterday, and the world looks so fluffy, but it's melting fast. Yeah, no, okay, I'll take you outside and you can see what it looks like. We're gonna go a little close to me though, because I have so much mess in my house from this kid sale thing. Do you want to go outside? Yeah, you can go outside. Okay. Da-da-da. Dead. It looks very dead, but we're starting to see green, which is why my voice is starting to go, because I have pollen allergy. So there, you can see my neighbor is very, very much enjoying flowers and plants and things. So if I get to send from here one more time, this is all going to be filled up with roses and flowers and everything, but all of this is blooming. And there's more under my deck as well. By the way, that's oak moss growing on that. It's a lichen. I don't know. Yeah, I can zoom. If you can see it there, it's that gray. I think it's oak moss, but it's not the one that looks like hair. It's just kind of leafy looking, but you can plant dye with that. That's what we've been fermenting. But I just haven't had a chance to try to color with it. But she's got pots and pots. Put the camera back on me because somebody's walking by and I don't want to film them. But yeah, there, we can go this way now. Lots of, but there you can see something that's beginning to, see the little buds? This is why I start to sound like I'm sick at this time of year. I'm not. I'm gonna go back inside because I keep filming people. So, okay, so when you're playing all these, look at all the yarn. It's everywhere. Okay, when you're this kid sale thing, you're going through a lot of dust. You're ripping tags off of tape off of clothing and kicking up more dust. And I actually have a mild dust allergy, so that combined with pollen. I took a COVID test this morning, and I made my kids do it as well because we're all kind of coughing and sniffling, and not coughing, but sneezing like mad, and we sound like we're dead. We are not. But anyway, okay. And by the way, I wasn't cold. I probably could have taken this off. It's actually colder in my house in the afternoon now than it is outside, because when the sun is up. Oh gosh, you guys are really good in chatty. I love it. Just to catch up where I'm at. Yeah, no, so Outer was here, and it's so good to see you on YouTube, by the way. Now I have Outer's name with her face. She celebrated her, can I say it? Yeah, of course I can. She celebrated her 50th birthday in Gudvang, and I thought, hey, that's a great way to do it, because some of us are actually turning 50 this year and are doing the exact same thing. So, our market, we haven't posted this yet, because the Gudvangen market, because I need to make a sign up sheet, and they're routed to the one that's existing is routed to the wrong email. So if we posted it, I'm not going to get the emails for it. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do that anyway. And then as soon as I get the sign up sheet sorted, then we can start doing it. But the important thing is to note that we are not having it in the summer like normal this year. There's lots of reasons for that. Lots of reasons anyway, don't need to go into it, but we are moving it to October. It's going to be between the two fall breaks, the one from the east and the west. There's a weekend in between, and we'll have it then. Basically so that we don't crash with other markets as well. And it's also a time of year where we could actually use more life in the valley as well. But my birthday's on October 7th. That's when I turn 50. And I thought, well, isn't that great that they chose my birthday week for that? So I'll actually be turning 50 during the market this year. And then there's Runa saying, well, there goes that surprise party. Like, yeah, well, anyway, so you have to come in October. That'll be kind of fun. So yes, no, I turned 50 as well, and I'm planning on celebrating it in Gudvangen. My kid Alex is here. She got a frog. Come and show what you got at the party. Yeah. So she bought this at the kids sale. It's warm. Why is it warm? It's got a hot water bottle in it. Yeah, Charlotte, I'm gonna turn 50. Victoria writes, you hit 50 and I turned 46 that day. October 7th? Yay! Okay, have you ever, this is something that's also very, I have to show this. This is a very popular thing in Norway. I haven't seen so much love for water bottles in a long time in the United States. But when I come to Norway, everybody's knitting something to go around these water bottles. It's just like that. Yeah. Okay, cute frog warm stops pain, says my kid. So you having pain? You know, you just want to keep nice and toasty. It just makes them more snuggly. Anyway, but they keep knitting. Yay! Good, Victoria. October 7th is a good year. Is it working? Yeah. So there you go. Have you ever null-bound these? I saw, I think my Britt Solstad made one of these hot water bottle covers in null-binding. But we might have to make one. He's got snot coming out of his nose, Alex. You might have to do some maintenance there. Yeah, you could probably snip that. If it comes off, we'll just make him a new nostril. So the kids sale. Not only do you sell stuff, but you get stuff. There you go.
Do you have a thing for chapped lips?
Yeah, I do. It's on the table maybe, but I'll find it after. Okay, catching up. Here, I didn't think I was going to have much to talk about. You guys are doing so well. Oh yeah, Peruta link the jot form thing. That is an old one, so we don't really care if you want to be a jarl or a king or whatever, or a slave. We're not really reading into that question because it's not exactly role play. But the rest of the questions are valid. We want to know how much have you been doing of Viking reenactment, and do you participate? Do you have your own clothing? And you have to include an image of yourself in the outfit so we know that if it fits in with our time period. Hot water bottles are needed a lot more, says Victoria, by the way. Especially on my back after this weekend, lifting all those bags. Matthew's going to be turning 50 on October 23rd. See, and then Carl has his birthday on October 14th. My ex has his birthday on October 11th. My older brother, by 12 months, so basically Catholic twins, has his birthday on October 1st. And this is what we call the birthday gauntlet. But my kids' generation decided to all have their birthdays in March and February.
February is awesome.
Yours is Valentine's Day.
Actually, no, I don't like my birthday anymore.
No, she don't like her birthday anymore. Okay. Yep, nope, I'm turning the big 50. Do you know what else it means, though? 50. I keep getting off on these digressions while I'm trying to read chat. 50 means I will have been in Norway exactly as long as I've been in the United States. Yeah, it will be half my life. I moved to Norway. This was just by coincidental. So I bought the tickets, and the tickets happened to be on my birthday, October 7th, 1997. So on my birthday, I will literally actually have started being in Norway longer than I've actually lived in the United States. That's kind of a wow factor too. I probably should consider switching passports or seeking dual citizenship at this time. I don't know. Not exactly. I'm unhappy with my country.
You can move to another country and say like, oh, let's live another 25 years there.
I could. Audra sier mulig vi kommer på besök I påska. You should definitely come out, or we still have houses available. And we just did a mattress count because we're replacing our mattresses. We have enough mattresses. We have 54. So unless you have more than 54 butts, we're okay. It is a cute sloth. Yeah, they like on the calendar. My kid's big on sloths. There's another. Oh, April. No, we got the new one now. The other kid changed it.
No, I just.
No, my mom had to look everywhere to find a calendar of sloths because Cecilia likes them. Sorry, dry mouth. Okay, back a bit more. Thank you. Emily Gordon's in Pennsylvania, and it's getting springy. Yep, it's starting here as well. TB's here as well. She's been catching. Oh my gosh, TB has been binge watching all the old. You know, Torben and his wife Karin, they just binged watched all of them as well, and it's so kind of funny to relive them. So I see you comment on them, and I still have to kind of go and answer some of the old ones, and then I end up watching the video again, and it's so funny to see. So I think the last one I saw that you saw, I know you've been a couple episodes before, but it was the first one where Carl walks in and makes the line, some people have testicles. So if you want to know what that is, I think it was week 38 anyway. It was the first time Carl came on, and Virginia and I just about lost our crap. So every time you kind of comment on one, then I kind of go and watch that over again. It's like, oh, it seems so long ago, and like it's such a different life. We've got different Vikings there now, and it used to be almost all female, and now it's almost all male. Anyway, it's kind of fun to see how things change. So it's really cool. So TV's a diehard right now. She's upping my stats by watching them all over again. I'm still kind of catching up. Let's see. I like that I can use the phone. It makes it much more easy to run around with the gimbal and show things, but it does make the chat kind of hard to show. To kind of follow up on because I have to touch my screen for it to stay up. Victoria is envious of Julie because Julie gets to come to Gudvangen. But you could too one day. It's actually a cheap way of staying. The ticket's probably the most expensive thing because then you stay in the village for free if you're a Viking. Unfortunately, we have to approve, preferably not dressed all in black because that's a hard one to prove the accuracy of. It seems to be very popular with color with new Vikings, but we have to tell them Vikings didn't actually have the color black. We don't have, they probably did, but we don't have evidence of it yet. The closest they can get is plant dyeing with walnut, which there's no evidence that they did that. No, they did plant dye with walnut, but you can maybe get a black out of it, but it won't be a true black. And of course you got black sheep, but there'll always be gray in it, in the wool. Albert is saying, I am multitasking and I'm also playing D&D. We've started playing RuneQuest. We're going to do that again this weekend as well. I wasn't really big. I did play Dungeons and Dragons when I was in university, and then the Megastorm in Duluth hit. You can actually look up the Megastorm in Duluth, Minnesota, and then I got stuck in a house with 9 people for 4 days, or a small apartment with 9 people for 4 days. And I hadn't really played it since, but Carl is such a good dungeon master. He's so animated. So we actually enjoy it now. It turns out a lot of people in the Viking community do some sort of role play, though, which is kind of cool to see. And a lot of people in the Nalbinding community also do Viking or some sort of form of historic reenactment, which is kind of cool, too. Charlotte has her non-Easter Viking Easter sweater ready. Oh, cool. Non-Viking. Torben says, what happens on the 6th? I had to get more pizza and I missed it. What does happen on the 6th again? I don't know. That's a Wednesday. Oh, October 6th through 9th is when we're having our market this year. And my birthday's on the 7th, so I'll be turning 50. I think that's what it was. Vestby, far from Planetveien. No, I'm not. I'm in the Valhalla district, apparently, because all the streets around here are named Tord, Mjolnir, Loki, Balder. Anyway, even Valhalla, I think we have. But up about 5 minutes up the road, up the hill, then you start getting into the solar system. You've got the planet, sun, moon, Jupiter, everything, Pluto even. So no, I'm about 5 minutes. I think that's where Stan's from, if I'm not forgetting. I'm a young lassie, says Garcia. Oh, you're so nice. No, I don't really feel 50. My back feels like it's 50, though. But the rest of me, yeah, I figures you're good. Maria almost forgot, and I was even talking to her today. Hi, Maria. Maria, we have an idea. So she said she can't really talk that much, but I know you can talk. We had this idea we were talking about earlier that, one day we had a dream that we should make some sort of an online needle binding magazine. I know it's been something that she's been wanting to. There it is. You got an idea for the magazine. So Maria's writing in there. What do you guys think about this? Because I thought, magazine, it's a lot of work. You got to do it every week or every month. But no, she says, what about 4 times a year? So every 3rd month. And it doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world. And you even have like want ads in the back if you're selling needles or whatever, things like that. And at first, you could start with them free. And then after that, we'll see how much maintenance it is. But, because you need a following in the beginning. But so this is I gotta say is mostly Maria's idea because she's got this wonderful blog. If you've seen it, it's Mustard off Nalbinding, which actually means a lot of needle binding, and she can even write that in there. Maria, by the way, her blog. That's where all the Christmas advent calendar patterns are and things. It is, in my opinion, the one of the top online. You've got Ann Decker's needle binding online, which is awesome. You've got Sana Marie's Neulakentat, if I'm not killing it, which is really great, and then you have Maria's as well. Those are really good for online resources. Anyway, so if we had like a magazine, what do we do? I mean, we could, how much do you have to actually fill? Maybe it's just a newsletter and it's just one page. But I thought, okay, what would you do? Maybe you could just interview different people. how did you get into needle binding? How long have you been needle binding? What are your favorite things you do? And you get everyone who I'm just starting, and this is how much it sucks to be a new beginner, to somebody going, well, I've been needle binding since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Maria knows what I'm talking about. So maybe we can talk about that too. And I don't know. I thought it would be kind of fun though. A little bit of inspiration and such, and then it would be something that would always stay up. So what did you think of Maria? Maria's got awesome ideas. She said, "What's new in your country regarding null binding?" Yeah, there you go. By the way, a little address. Do you see the way she spells it with an A with a circle over it? Did you say null binding or null binding? You said null binding. You can say Nalbinding, you can say Nalbinding, you can say Nalbinding, which they do in Norwegian, and Nalbinding and Nalbinding are both Norwegian. Some can't, a lot of people can't do the circle over the A, so it's just been commonly called Nalbinding, which is correct as well. And then there's Nulakinas, if I'm not killing it in Finnish, Vattasmur or whatever in Icelandic. There's even Nalbinding, by the way, and needle binding, of course, because needle binding is the direct translation of null binding, is to bind with a needle. Anyway, what else do you guys have? Because I really like this idea. So throw a bunch of stuff in there because Maria's taking notes, aren't you, Maria? No, but the chat stays up. So see, Victoria would love to write for it because this is the problem that Maria and I'd have. It's the same thing with the advent calendar. Oh yeah, no, I can do a pattern, and then like December 17th comes and it's due on December 18th, and you're like, I'm almost done. And then Ava Bolander gets it, and she's trying to make it all format friendly and everything, and she's up until 2 a.m. in the morning. I got it done. She even pictures my pictures so that the picture of Carl, for example, had a photo in the background, and she'd block that out, so it was just perfect purple screen. It was really good. But one thing we do need, and you'll notice this if you have tried to make any advent calendar things for Maria, you never have enough people to do it. So you're going to need as many people as possible that can help out. Okay, so she's also said she was thinking of thinking of news like exhibitions, new books, and so on. Yep, common questions in needle binding. I've noticed. I agree with you there. Common things people ask about needles. What's the best needle to use? Artifacts. They love hearing about artifacts. Modern interpretation, which is mostly what I do. Pattern. There's no patterns out there, so how do you do that? That's why I started making them. Or where can you know, most of my pattern ideas come from crochet, to be quite honest, because you can actually just adjust a crochet pattern. Let's see. There's some other ones too. Yeah, the books and journals. Everybody, there's people like Maria and Nele who collect anything that's written about needle binding on paper, for example. We could even do a pattern. Yeah, no, I mean, you guys do a simple one. I mean, the hat patterns are so easy. So something like that. That's a really good idea. You could have some sort of a feature. Yes, and we could probably fit Carl in there because now he's Count Nidula, as Ava called him after that picture. Carl, you could do a series called Carl Cooking Corner Recipes and stuff, all made by Carl. Okay, so there's this one group anyway where I was actually getting a little fed up because it was just a little. It was supposed to be a needle binding group, and there was a lot of talk about food. So you know, but I'm a difficult person to please. But anyway, so they dubbed that the official null binding food of that group was chocolate covered bacon. I'll leave that one up for discussion. It does actually sound kind of interesting. So I guess needle binding could get in the food category. Or we could just sit there with our spaghetti and needle bind it and then eat it. That could take some time. I got a pasta machine. We can make a really long one. Let's see. Julie says she bought the Japanese null binding book. It is so good. I think I know it. It's the white one, right, with the colorful hat on the cover, like some stripy hats. I think so. And she's got a black and white hat on there as well. But that is a really good book, and I don't even think you need to read Japanese to enjoy that book. I wish that was easier to find in Norway, but I think, did you get it off of Amazon? I think that's pretty much where people have been finding that one. And I forget the name of the author, so you please write that in there as well. We just need a layouter. Yeah, can Victoria do that? Yeah, no, Victoria, definitely get in touch with Maria because what we do is we get a lot of people that are interested in helping, and then they kind of fall through, and then you've got me who's submitting patterns at the very last minute because I always think I can do everything, and I can't. So it probably would be nice to have someone a bit more reliable than my last minute, but that would be awesome. So was Ava was the one also doing layout, but we overworked that poor lady. Ava Bolender, if you've ever looked on Pinterest, needle-bound sweater, you'll see there's at least 2 diagrams or 4 diagrams that all look the same. It's like a pencil drawing of a sweater. That's Ava Bolender, by the way. She's the first one I know that actually posted any kind of instruction as to how to make a needle-bound sweater. I love that diagram. I actually used that as a start for when I made my first one. Does anybody know where to find a sterling silver pendant with needle which can be used for Nola binding? Yes, I do. Nola binding. If you talk to Jensi Eriksson, I don't know if she's on right now. She's usually on Saturday, so Sunday might have been a bit crash for her. Anyway, she bought one, or I think somebody either gifted it to her as a trade. I think she made a pair of socks and the guy gave her a silver needle. Torben, tell Carl that I would absolutely love one of those one day. Carl has an odd obsession that everything has to be silver because I would make him look like a pauper if I wore bronze. Anyway, they actually made a silver needle, and it's really cool. And I like the idea that you could both wear it as a pendant and have it as an emergency needle binding needle as well. But if you can't find it, Julie found the link from the Facebook group. Yeah, if you find it, post it in there. I forget what the guy's name is, but Jensi Eriksson has a friend or an acquaintance. She bought one off of somebody, so you can find out. I think they cost like 400 kroner, which is really good considering it's silver. So that would be definitely worth it. And it might be Swedish kroner too, for all I know. Matthew says could do stories. We got lots of ideas in here. I hope you're taking notes, Maria. This is awesome. So if people like this idea of having some sort of an online magazine, and then, well, Maria has a place where you can host it, I'm sure. I don't, because I'd have to create a web page and I can't be asked. That would be so awesome. Let's see. And Carl's Cooking Corner, Torben wrote, today in Carl's Cooking Corner, how to recover from food poisoning. I have a photo. Torben knows about this. He's got photographic evidence. I did a really bad thing. You know how Carl said, I don't need a dishwasher? I have a girlfriend. Because this apartment that we're in here for just like a month or two anyway does not have a dishwasher. I thought, okay, this is going to be an interesting thing. Carl says, it's no problem. I only use 1 fork. And then he has this like takeout food. So I left the dishes for him to wash. I mean, I rinsed them all anyway, so they're all completely rinsed off. They just actually need to go through the soap. And I said, could you wash some of these before I get back? And he's like, no. I'm like, but you will. He didn't. I came back, so I made dinner, happily wash up those and everything like that. But I left some of the dishes, including there was only 1 clean fork, and that was mine. So if you want to eat, Carl, there you go. But there's a dirty fork you have to wash. So he did. He's like, but you can't take a photograph of this. No, I'm not going to take any photographs, but it makes me so happy to see Viking Carl actually washing dishes. I even made the dishwater recipe for him so he didn't have to make his own soap. But then Greg sneaks in and gets a photo of him doing it and then sends it to Torben. Torben wants to print this as he wants to make a t-shirt out of it. I think this is a great idea. We can write, what's the recipe for But we got Carl. We got Carl to wash a dish anyway. No, he actually washed all the silverware. He got in trouble. He'll never admit that, so don't. We'll see next week if he does. We'll bring it up. But we could always put Carl's recipe for dishwater in there. Or what's the coolest thing you ever put on a pizza? He's doing the bananas and crap. And Maria says, yeah, you can host it on the blog. I think that'd be a great idea, Maria. And then you get the followers and whatever for it as well, because you'd probably be the one doing the majority of the maintaining of it anyway. She's much more organized than I am. I love a Nalbinding podcast, actually. That is a good idea. This one, my mom keeps calling this a podcast, so I don't know if this counts. But and then I thought about it too, but the problem is with the podcast, it's not visual. And I think a lot of needle binding is visual. So if someone asks you a question on a podcast or you're discussing how you do a stitch, you go, well, I go 2 loops behind my thumb, and then it might be a little tricky. So I don't know. Torben does a podcast. He has Quarantena pills, which means quarantine beer. He might be a good one to ask about how to do that. No Biting podcast has been done. That's right. Shy Red Fox Amy Vanderborst did a podcast. Did she still do that? I think I haven't checked that in like 4 years. Amy Vanderborst is American. She was one of the first places I saw where they do that. She was the first person I think I ever saw where she did a braided edge on here, you know, where they're kind of looped like Celtic knots going along the side. She also did one in the middle on a shawl. She's extremely, that's somebody who should have an expert tag in the needle binding group, by the way. I think that expert thing is a new thing because I look on there and I have to send Kelsey a bunch of names and say you need to put these people on there because they're called doing it all. But look up Amy Vander Vorsta or Shy Red. I think she actually has it under the name Shy Red Fox. Nalbinding for a podcast. She was really active about 4 years ago, and then I think life caught up, but she's not out of it. She's still in it. I have to check that out too because I need to listen to podcasts on the 6-hour drive to Gudvangen and back. Lately, I've been listening to one for the news. Obviously, I started listening to Karin and Torben. You guys are awesome, but it's in Norwegian and it's in Nynorsk, so you don't sound like 6-year-old girls, as Carl says, by speaking bokmål like I do. What's another one I listened to? Henrettelse is Polen, but that one is also in Norwegian. It's about, you know, people who in the 1700s or whatever who got sentenced to death in Norway. But the stories behind why apparently arsenic was a big thing in those days. Anyway, what kind of podcasts do you guys listen to? There was another one there. You're Dead to Me is a good one, but don't look at the radio edit. Look at the long one because you got quizzes and stuff. Ologies is a really good one. There's every podcast she does a new ology. When Carl talks bokmål, yes. Da høres han ut som Lise på 4 år. I noticed though his balls drop when he starts speaking Nynorsk. At the Carlo Yapatelia. Anyway. You listen to ologies as well. Yeah, the murder stuff is awesome. There was a new one that just came out. And it's only like 3 episodes in, but it's discussing Amityville, not Amityville horror, but the Amityville murders. And now I have to, but the thing is, they're only doing like one a week. Oh, and then Duolingo Spanish podcast because I decided I need to reclaim my 7 years of lost Spanish from over 20 years ago. There we go. I'm missing a lot of chat, and I'm so sorry. Yeah, but 90% murder. That I'm agreeing with you there. I'd probably do maybe about 75% murder, 5% Spanish, and 10% news or something. Did I actually hit 20? I don't know. I can't do math. Peruta found the link for Shy Red Fox. There you go. Check that podcast out, and I will too, actually, because I'm almost out of Duolingo Spanish ones. She did an interview as well for Maria. Yeah, she should definitely be an expert though. That lady knows her stuff. I did say somebody mentioned, asked me the question on there, and I'll answer it as soon as I'm done here about color work. Ingela Andersson from Sweden. Actually looks like Anderson. That lady she does the most amazing color work, so I would grab her on that one. Nynorsk is a lot harder than bokmål, I think so too. Because you swallow a lot of sounds or something, I can't remember. But for some reason, Nynorsk seems a little bit more hard. Nynorsk means New Norwegian, by the way. And the rest is history. I have not heard of that podcast. Okay, that'll be a good one to start because I noticed You're Dead to Me hasn't posted any new stories this year, so I have to check that one. Yeah, it was Leah was the one that asked about color work. Okay, well, I'll get that in there. I'm going to tag her though, and she will show because my idea of color work or what I've done, there's so much I need to do. I've got a notebook of all these ideas I need to do. One I will tell you about was done recently. Anyway, but I need to try doing the color work because I've only really played with it once, and I was thought about showing it here, but there's no way to mount this thing on me and then on my hands. It's I don't have a setup for that. Casual Criminalist is good when I have that. But the closest one that I do is spirals. So I'll take 2 and I'll spiral it around. And sure enough, I don't have any to show. You know, a bit like that, but you spiral 2. So it goes like 2. And I've done up to 4. I've even done up to 8. And then there was a hat that was posted recently in the Nalbinding group that looked like it had a lot of ending and a crap load of really cool flowers that you could pop out or push in. But you'll notice she has like a lot of endings on there. So when I did 8 endings, it's like it kind of looks like petals at that point. So that's like taking this end that you don't like and turning it into a feature by making quite a few of them. But the other one idea I did have is something that I wanted to do is actually done. Canada in Zoom did one. It's a 3-point hat. So it kind of looks like, there and then there, almost like, what's that? Not the peace symbol, but the Mercedes Benz. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of cool. But then how do you do your increases? Do you do your increases just on the ends, or do you do it at the V point? And she actually did a little both, but mostly did her increasings up here. But I knit a hat for my kids. A pattern was called a 3-point baby hat, and it was so cute. And they had tassels on each end. Hers doesn't, because it probably make her look too young. But I've been wanting to try that, so it was really cool. It was cool to see that she managed it, and it with the increases and everything, it actually fits like a hat, and it maintains its 3 points. So hopefully she'll post that. I asked her to do that. Keep an eye out for it. Oi, en el rincón de cocina de Carlo. Today in the kitchen of Carl. I forgot what rincón is. Yeah. So anyway, but the one where you're actually switching colors, Amy Van der Vorst was one of the first persons I saw that do that, and Ingela Anderson does that as well. She's really good at it. Myths and Legends. That was the one that Pruda told me to check, so I have that on my list, but I haven't started yet. Especially when they cover Norse myths or Icelandic sagas. I should read that so I would actually understand most of the stories that Greg is telling. I think we can get Greg to do a story next week. I hope so. Okay, kind of flipping back through here. Yeah. More ideas for a magazine, by the way. If we did do a magazine, because I'll push all this on Maria because she's awesome. Sorry. I'll help. I'll write something. What would you like to see in a magazine? Is 4 times a week, 4 times a year enough? Like I said, you could even do want ads in the back where you could list your own little advertisement. It could be free at first, and then if there actually becomes some of a following out of it, then maybe for a slight charge, because you would actually be getting your needles or your work out to a bigger audience, which can point to your Etsy's or whatever. Victoria says, I love Reykjavik grapevine sagas. Reykjavik or Reykjavik. I think we say Reykjavik in English, but Reykjavik in Norwegian. Was the Grapevine Sagas on YouTube? I have not heard of that one, though, so I'm going to have to check it. That would be a really good one to see. I can listen to YouTube in the car. I just can't watch the screen. I like one of the Icelandic sagas about the girl who was able to get a divorce by making a dress that was so low cut she thought he would just dress like a woman, and look now, he dresses like a woman. I want a divorce. And the people at the thing actually gave her one. This is Carl's tour, word for word. Tour, knoll binding podcast with 2 or more people discussing knoll binding. That could be. We started out when we did this one. Virginia was with me in the beginning, and we started out talking about all needle binding, but you are kind of hitting a really limited audience. It is sort of growing. So one thing that kind of embraced, the more the guys started stepping into it, the more it was, we can't really call it quarantine needle binding again, but what else? We actually do have a lot of Viking involved. So that's where we came up with the name of Viking knoll binding, or Viking knoll binding, which has probably taken some people off because there's now a question of how much knoll binding actually did exist in the Viking age. Well, it's Viking and knoll binding. We'll call it that. Make everyone happy. Torben says, start up with 4 times a week and see how it goes. 4 times a year, I hope you mean. If you need shorter intervals, and try every other month, build it up stone by stone. Don't start too hard. Now I'm going to tell you why you have to listen to Torben on this one, Maria. Torben's a journalist. That's his job. Which makes him, of course, very popular with Georg, because our chieftain, Georg, absolutely loves journalists. They like him too. But yeah, Torben, any advice you have, we will definitely take it. I think that's something we could do, and everyone could just kind of submit to it. It's going to have to be a volunteer work kind of a thing. Of course, there's no money in it, but who knows? It could be big. Could do stories. I'd like the idea of interviewing people for stories too. Like, how did you get started, and were you around when it was still an endangered craft? And I see that Emma Boast still likes to call it an endangered craft in England, so apparently it is still an endangered craft there. It's been considered more than healthy here in the last 6 years. So different parts of the world, different thing. There was another question too where they asked somebody else today, which is actually, I love this question actually. It's did knoll binding originate from Scandinavia? No, it's everywhere. It's all over the world, all over the world. But I think we get a lot of attention for it in Scandinavia because of the Vikings. A lot of Viking reenactment groups like it, and that's how a lot of people learn about it for the first time. So they that, but no, it's everywhere. South America, Africa, Asia, Egypt, everywhere. But that's why I like that question, because it shocks a lot of people. They really do think it's just in Scandinavia. Nope. Another thing is the bunad, the traditional costumes in Sweden, for example, and in Norway, they will have null-bound mittens, especially Sweden and Finland and Russia. Those have really pretty null-bound mittens with embroidery on it. So anyway, that's like a little good trivia question, if they actually know what null binding is in the first place. And Julie got that book, the Japanese null binding one on Japanese Amazon. Can't remember the author right now, but that author is on Instagram. Oh, another person who could almost be an expert if she wanted to is a Hiroki or Yuki something on null binding Facebook page or Facebook group. She makes like sweaters, and goals. The sweaters that she makes have different cuts and forms and shapes, and some are neck down, some are raglan, some have points on them, and everything you wanted to try in a sweater, she's doing it. Does anybody know? We did the sterling silver one, but we could always put a little Viking humor in there. Carl's got to have his own fan club. Yeah, maybe a little bit of comment for Carl. I think he kind of likes it. He doesn't, if we make him do it, then he's like, okay. But he wouldn't do it unless we made him do it. But he would definitely say no if he didn't want to do it. A bit like the dishes. But you could always add a little something. It could be called Vikinis today. Get your Vikini juices here. No, I'd be kidding, but awesome. But you could always have the Vikini corner. Whose hat looks like a Vikini now? Stories with null binding or poems, null binding or poems, a recipe linked to a culture who null binds. Yeah, you could even do a section on Billum and what needle binding, camel muzzles, and a whole thing on camel muzzles. Those are all null bound in Egypt or anywhere in the desert there, I guess. Karin Hollick is here, by the way. I almost missed you there. Let's see. Oh, we've got so much I got to catch up on. Albert said we had a fun thing happen yesterday. The fire alarm in the apartment complex went off, and the fire department came, and it was a shit show, and it was activated by the next people's cooking. Okay, maybe Carl shouldn't be allowed to cook, at least not unattended. Didn't you just have a fire nearby you, Albert? You guys seem to be like the fire central of Norway lately. I thought for sure there was a house that burned not too far from you or something. If we're very lucky, says Pruda, Hector and I can celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary in Gudvangen in June next year. If you talk to Georg, he will probably happily do a little ceremony for you. He loves those. A Hundfest or whatever, where they put tie the hands together kind of a thing. I was a participant in, actually I was the bridesmaid for Adrian Spenlow and Heidi's Sherman's wedding. That was kind of fun. I wasn't the first choice though. Her bridesmaid couldn't make it last minute, so I got to step in, and it was really kind of a fun thing to be a part of. One of those ceremonies. Albert is also planning on making a new kaftan. I saw that Adrian, not Spenlow, but Adrian, the other one, is going to Netherlands, and there's a shop with historical fabrics in there, so I'm kind of hoping I have to save some money. He said he could bring me something back, and I might need some. And the award for world's most selfie calendar flipping goes to my kid Alex. I'm going way back in here. Victoria also says the same. Dust, pollen, and mold spores make you sniffy. Daily tablets and nasal spray needed. That's a thing. I have to take my allergy medication, so my eyes are getting itchy and my noses. Okay, I think I got pretty much back, so now I'm going to go catch up forward again. There we go. Handfest, thank you. That's what it's called. Homefest, I think is what we called it. Our Homefest we called in Little Danish Norwegian. There was a Danish couple. I think it's Sonia. She sells at a lot of markets in Norway, so we see her quite a bit through there. But they were getting married. They were supposed to get married and have their ceremony it was in the middle of COVID, so they did it online, and it was really cool to see. That was a Homefest ceremony. Lyra says she's finally done felling seams, add loops, and I'm done. Oh, that's a lot of good work. I still have to finish my. Okay, so my red dress that I'm normally wearing, the reason I haven't been wearing it lately is because it was starting to come apart at the seams. I did a quick fix, but it also is because it's a stretch wool. Don't do that. But I was desperate for wool at the time and something warm, so I went with one anyway. And that's why the seams are ripping on it, because as the wool stretches, the seams stitches don't. But I needed it to make a new dress, so I actually took out the seams intentionally and laid it down and made a new one, and now I haven't finished the new one, nor have I sewn that one back up again, so time to get moving. That's a lot of work. Maybe I shouldn't do it by hand. Julie says she's got some secondhand Viking clothes, and now I could be a warm Viking in the winter. See, you can come. Viking, yeah, the freemen can come any time of year, unless we're doing construction or something. They can come whatever time of the year, even if we're not open. So that's what Audra did. Actually, she booked in. We didn't think we were open at the time, but we did end up having some tours coming in at 12 o'clock, so she got to see them. But it's a fun way to do. And Lyra's making a wool dress. Yeah, I've got to make that's what I'm actually replacing is my wool dress. I have like 4 linen dresses and they're okay. I just have to keep putting more patches on them. Where in the Netherlands is the fabric shop with historical fabric? Oh, let me see. He wrote that on my Facebook, I think, very recently in a reply to. Yeah, it was in reference to me writing that I couldn't be on last night. He replied to that. So the thing is also, I get people who send me friend requests and I don't see them very much. But also, I've got pictures of my kids on there. So if I accept a friend request, they now have access to all my kid photos. But you don't actually have to be on my thread to see anything I post, because anything Gudfanging related is public, and you can do something called follow. So if you follow that, then you get all the updates just as if you were a friend on my list, and you can see anything that's public. Although I did post a public picture of my kid today because you couldn't see it was her. She was under a big pile of clothing. There we go. Sorry, it's jiggling the camera when I touch my computer. There, he writes, there, Adrian Olsett, by the way, there is a historic textile store in the Netherlands. I'll go there sometime. If you need anything, send the money and get it for you. Oh, crap. I'll have to write, we need the name of the store. I will do that. See if I have I'll write it after. It's hard to type with the thing on the computer. Anyway, I'll tell him that we need the name of the store. I would assume Amsterdam, but I have no idea if that's where he's going. What is it like to be a freeman? Okay, we have some freemen in the chat. What's it like to be a freeman? Julie's a freeman. Audrin's a freeman. Charlotte's a freeman. Torben, we're going to get you yet. Don't worry. You and Karin need to become Vikings. See if we have to make you sew your clothes, because I'm not doing it for you. You need to come and be freeman. So you can tell them what it's like to be a freeman. I started out as a freeman, actually. It's kind of fun. You get to live like a Viking, and the things you have to do. Have we reached 1 hour? We have reached 1 hour. I gotta go. Okay, things you got to do to be a Viking, though. It's the demonstrating and everything is something you're usually doing there anyway. If you're sitting there needle minding, all you have to do is say hi to a tourist while you're doing it, and that kind of counts. So we reached 1 hour. I gotta go because then you want to be a Jedi. You can't. Only Greg can be a Jedi. Karin is sold. Okay, we thought this would be fun. We have to get you there. It's lovely living as Vikings, meeting new friends, showing tourists what you do. Yep. One thing is that I'm now working 100%, which means my time, it's really hard to get me to sit still for very long, but I will still try. But there's a lot of people there to talk to that all do different things. Do we need a new picture of me in my Viking garb for this year's application? No, I don't. You've already approved. If you show up wearing bright pink butterfly costume, we might have to have a talk. But yeah, okay. So anyway, I think Yuko Hirata is the name of the amazing Japanese sweater lady. Yes, there we go. How long do freemen have to stay? You get a trial visit, and if you pass that, you can stay as long as you want, or unless all the houses are booked and someone has it reserved. We have people who stay the whole summer, and somebody's making a wool dress. Okay, I'm gonna leave you. It will be on Saturday next week at 6 o'clock. I promise, and I will be in the village unless I somehow come down with COVID in the next couple of days. So we will be there, and we'll try to get to have Greg tell a story. Keep throwing ideas into Maria for a magazine, because I think we have to do an online magazine. And I didn't think I'd have anything to talk about. I'm gonna continue working on my egg. Okay, bye.